Hello, everybody. I I want to talk about, you know, losing losing hope, losing faith, losing your beliefs, being discouraged. Um, this is really important for this time right now, because when we start doubting or questioning the standard narrative, inevitably what will come into it is we will also we will question, rightly question, how much can we trust the Bible? Or in what way should we trust the Bible? You see? Now, the reason I feel this is important is because, as I've shared, I was in a dangerous personality cult over 20 years ago. And I've experienced this, to my core. And I've also known a lot of people that completely lost all their faith. They just reject everything. Now, is it possible that the Bible is being used or has been manipulated? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. But does that mean there's no relevant, helpful, useful information in the Bible? No, it doesn't prove that. We can still possibly glean a lot of information because we can know ourselves, know our senses. What do I see? What can I observe? How do I feel? What connections do I have? And I know those are real. So this is going back to the coin, this penny. Okay, the farthing. Okay, this is an English coin. Now, what I want to explain is, this is like some sort of like goddess-looking person. They're holding a trident, with the three prongs, and there's a ship, a sail ship, and then it looks like a lighthouse of some kind. Now, what's important is this coin, if I was to read it, the way it would say, it would be 1886, okay? But what I realize when looking at it very closely, the font, the 1, is not a number in front. So it would be 886. And what I'm saying is this coin is from 886. The Dark Ages didn't exist. Now, how I know this is when I look at that so-called 1, the font is clearly identical font as the spelling in Farling with ing. The I in ing is the identical font to the so-called 1. Okay, so that's when I'm saying hard evidence. And there are a lot of coins that are showed in the didactic video that I highly recommend you look at. Okay, so now going back to this, the Bible and the story of the cataclysm, the cyclical cataclysms that I believe are mentioned in the Bible. But also, what inevitably started coming up into my mind is this very dominant story that the Bible does communicate of this chosen group of people, this chosen group, the beloved of God, the blessed of God, the ones that get delivered, the ones that get saved through the flood, or the nation of Israel who gets freed from Egypt. And okay, well, what if with this other group that I'm hypothesizing, that the Bible seems to indicate the devil can give the rulership of the world to, what if that's what they believe about themselves? They really, really, really believe it, that they are the beloved of God, that they are the chosen, okay? And what keeps reinforcing this as time goes by through their secret societies. They keep living through the cataclysms. And so it reinforces that narrative for them. Yeah, pretty deep rabbit hole, isn't it? Pretty damn deep rabbit hole. Yeah. So what is really, really, really going on? What is really going on? And I think that there is a plasticity between the firmament and the field, the quantum field. And that there's actually like a relationship-like response that occurs between the firmament, which we perceive as our reality that our senses pick up, and the quantum field, you know, that part we connect on the inside emotionally with. You know, even perhaps our thoughts have origin there. And that's partly what's coming up. And every time this cyclical cataclysm comes around, it's our time, our moment of opportunity to actually engage with our consciousness and understand the complexity of the way belief systems are responded to by the quantum field, okay, which then allow that particular timeline to grow almost like a tree. You know, it's like, because remember, the Fibonacci is in the Bible. And remember, please go back and watch my first videos, why I got so excited about the Fibonacci, because it is a mathematical proportional rate of increase that living organisms are based on, the proportions and dimensions and, you know, how they grow out and the trees and everything. Okay, so what if our timelines, what if this is a governing universal principle that is going on, and we just always start becoming aware of it at the same time the cyclical pattern of cataclysms comes. Okay? And we, as we get closer to the cataclysm, you know, everything is speeding up, and we are needing to really quickly cronk how our consciousness is interacting with the next moments of reality, and that the timelines are almost like trees, because the Bible refers to the righteous as trees, and the Bible refers to you know, believers as being living stones. And I, you know, the more I think about this, the more I'm seeing in a lot of the stuff Jesus said, if you just read the Bible and then consider, okay, is this actually hinting at this interactive universe and manifestation? Yeah, you can see it. You can really, really see it. The Bible tells us, guard your thoughts, you know, be careful what you think about and all of that. Why? Perhaps this is why. This could be why. And so we're coming up on this juncture, and we can navigate, like I said, navigate a new story, but this story has to be believable to really tap into the genuine consciousness. It can't be pure fantasy, because that's too far, and then the physical mind just grounds into the earth, and there's a disconnect. So if we can find hard evidence. Now, why am I going back to this penny? Guess what? Guess what, friends? The farthing is mentioned in the King James Bible. And remember what I was saying, what if there was this, cataclysm? Well, I was looking at when the Nicene Creed was done, and that was about 340, there. And then the King James Bible, it says 1611, but really take the 1,000 off, so that would have been 611. What if the cataclysm occurred between the writing of the Nicene Creed and that, between 350 and 600? Okay? And it was because the church was rising, the believers, so there was this emergence occurring, but there was a lot of persecution that happened. Now, going back to the farthing, it's mentioned, this is actually mentioned in the King James, okay? Is this how they translated it? But the place is beautiful. Listen, it says, Jesus sat over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. Who is the certain poor widow but us? We are the certain poor widow. And we are going into this great, this temple. But what is the temple? Is it our reality? Is this great temple our reality? And are we as Christians willing to put in everything we got? And what is it? Our belief. Our belief that we can trust solid. Now, I just find it quite fantastic that I just happen to have this farthing. And it just happens to be mentioned in the King James Bible. And it just happens to be connected to the scripture of the poor widow. And this farthing proves to me, I don't need anyone else to tell me now. It proves to me my ancestors saved this penny. Why did they save this penny to give to me? Because it's proof. But it's the smallest coin. So the really rich people, remember what I said about getting rid of all the evidence? They stockpile the gold. They don't want these 1/4 of a penny. It's nothing to them. The little bits that fall through the cracks. Yeah, the lowly. And what does the Bible say? Who's going to inherit the earth one day? Is the humble, the lowly, the meek, the ones that love peace and love truth. And I want you to know, I am willing to put every ounce of my strength, of my heart and my intellect into this. I am willing to go all in. If it's possible that we can be part of writing a new story and singing a new song. And this is all what the Bible has told us. It's just understanding it, filtering it, because so many interpretations have been attempted to be pressed in on our mind. It's like one alphabet being used to write different languages. That's kind of almost like what we're dealing with here. I'm pretty excited about this because I think there's a lot here. Let's go on this adventure. I'm going to tell you another story next about a great meditation I had with a giant.